Hello tarot readers, just a little video today about the stress when you're learning the tarot cards. And I would suggest to you, if you are learning the tarot and you're just at the first stages of tarot, it's a lot, it's 78 cards. Now you can get your information from many places. There's loads of really great books being written on tarot. There's amazing courses, even I've got my own courses, brilliant courses. And then you can obviously get websites that give, and a lot of YouTube videos as well. So you can get information from anywhere on the tarot nowadays. But there is a few things I would just say. A lot of people learn tarot and they learn the history of the tarot cards and they really go into that. And they may learn symbolisms behind the tarot, like with astrology signs and zodiac signs, or they may go into the kabala, or they may go into numerology. They may go into really deep symbolism of the tarot. And then you'll get other tarot readers that are learning the tarot and they can't get into all that. It's too much. It's like this, it's like really taking on a kind of academic career, really, isn't it? Like learning how to be a doctor. You know, you can have like a 4-year intense study just on learning the tarot. And not everybody's set up for that. Not everybody's set up for that kind of intense learning. And the thing is, my advice is, if that's not your calling, don't do it. Don't do it. Just let it come gradually. Maybe one day, maybe in a year's time, maybe in a couple of years' time, you'll want to get a bit more into the history of the tarot. Or maybe one day you'll fancy learning a little bit about astrology signs in the tarot. But if it's not where you are now, don't do it, because it's not needed. What's needed when you're learning the tarot is that you focus on the basic meanings of the cards, just the basic meanings of every tarot card, and let the artist inspiration, let that run wild in your mind and let your intuition kick in, and anything that might come to the surface with your intuition, with your sixth sense. But above it all, the most important thing is to practice. Instead of spending the time focusing on history and all these other things that we can do with the tarot, just focus on practicing what you already know. Maybe get a couple of good books or take a course, learn the basics of the cards, and then kind of investigate the card and practice. Just because somebody knows a lot of information about the tarot, wow, they know all this information, it doesn't mean that the moment they do a reading, they're going to be any better than somebody who doesn't know all that. The tarot reader isn't defined by everything they know about the tarot. It's more defined by what they do in an actual reading and how good they are in their reading. So, you know, that's something really to take in mind, because I know a lot of tarot readers that will say to me like, oh, Gaynor, I'd love to learn the tarot, but it's so hard, and, you know, such a body knows so much, or you know so much. A lot of people say to me, oh, I wish I knew what you knew. Well, first of all, for me, it's been a lifetime study. I've been studying the tarot my whole life. And secondly, I'm a tarot teacher, I'm a tarot coach, so I've worked like 10 hours a day for years and years and years in this field. But not only that, it's something I really love. I do love the history of the tarot. I do love astrology with the tarot, so I've been pulled to that. I don't like numerology with the tarot, so that's not a conversation we're going to have, because it's not something I'm pulled to. But if you're not pulled to none of that, and I never learned all that at the beginning, believe me, I didn't learn all that until a long time after. And it was just something very gradual. If you're not into it, don't even bother. Don't just let it go by you. All you need to learn at the moment is the basic meaning of the cards, and practice. Knowing more won't make you any better. It's the practice that will make you better. If somebody was on, like, especially on the Facebook groups, if somebody's to write this long sermon about the meaning of a tarot card, and they tell you the history and the symbolism behind it, and, you know, they talk about these great people of the past, like Arthur Waite, and all these great tarot people, inspiring people, and they give all this information, I personally would enjoy it, really enjoy it, because that's the kind of thing I love. I love reading that kind of information, and that's my vibe, that's what I love. But if somebody else was to write something very short and simple, like, oh, well, I think that card is about love, and that's it, full stop, nothing more. I would equally enjoy that because that is their input on it. That's what they're feeling at that moment. That's how far they've got. Now, neither one makes them better than the other, and neither one makes them right. It's just different ways. So don't stress out if you can't get into tarot. You're not supposed to be reinventing the wheel, and you're not supposed to be taking a 4-year degree if that's not what you want to do. Just learn some basic meanings, and remember, there is no black and white, there is no right and wrong, and that's something that's really important to remember. We had the tarot cards in circulation for hundreds of years before anybody wrote down in a book that there could be a connection between that and predicting the future, or using it for the way we use it now, fortune telling. And even that, if you go back to the very first books that was written on tarot for fortune telling, a long time after tarot was out, them books have, most of them, the meanings have got nothing like the meanings that we've got today. So it's a constant evolution, it's a constant change, and most tarot readers, the basic meaning can be very similar, but a lot of them will have their own intake, their own input. That's why there's so many different tarot books on the market, because so many tarot readers have got their own input. And that's why two teachers, tarot teachers, can sit in a room, completely understand each other, but have different opinions and ideas on certain cards. There is no black and white, there is no set way. There's kind of a universal basic meaning. That doesn't mean you have to take it on. It's just an easier universal meaning that many tarot readers carry with them. But from there, you can do what you want. Even before that, if you don't want to use that basic meaning, don't use it. Just don't stress out about it, because it'd be such a shame for so many people that want to learn the tarot, and then it just feels like this whole big thing, and they back away or they feel inferior. Now, if you're feeling inferior with learning the tarot because you're finding that it's too much hard work and there's so much involved, maybe just take a break, stand back and say to yourself, wait a minute, why do I want to learn the tarot? I just want to be able to look at the cards and let the cards guide me. I want to be able to give readings for other people so I can guide them. That's something that I really want. That's the essence of the reason I'm learning the tarot. So maybe take a break and then go back into that. Just look at a card and say, okay, the basic meaning of this card means, I've read in most places, cups mean love. So the King of Cups is the king of love. So that means he's a guy who's in a relationship, or maybe he's in love with a woman. The basic meaning is a guy who's in love. But then you can, let other things kick in. Oh, I read somewhere that ring means that he's a married man. Or I feel like he's a man who travels a lot because they've got this water in the background. Maybe he works on the sea. Maybe he's a sailor or a fisherman or a marine. Let your intuition take over. Let the artist inspiration take over. Every time you look at the card, look for something new in the card, something different. You might see the next time that he's sat on a throne and say, no, this is a man who doesn't like to leave his home. He likes to be at home. He likes to sit at home. Or is a man who works in an office. You can really make up whatever you want with this card by looking at it. But making up stories isn't what the tarot's about. And that's why we need to practice. Practice, practice, practice. And once you practice, you'll find that there is kind of like this undercurrent kind of vibe with this card. Every card has got its own vibe. So yeah, you will find that the water will probably mean that it's the flow of his emotions. And that's what the basic meaning would be. But you can let your intuition and you can let the artist inspiration really play games with you and practice, practice, practice without stressing out and without knowing who created this card, when they created it, what books it's been in, what history it's got, what symbolism it's got. You might not be interested in that. You might just look at this card and say, that's somebody's husband. And that's fine. Let it flow. Don't put too much pressure on yourself while you're practicing. So take a little break if you're feeling a bit stressed learning the tarot. Also, if it's because you're on Facebook groups or some kind of social media places, and there can be a lot of kind of snobby tarot readers around, and I don't find many of them, to be honest. I'm quite lucky. The tarot readers that I kind of connect with on the internet are all really great people and really giving and open people. But obviously you will get them black eggs everywhere you go. And if you find that you've been in places where some tarot readers have been really negative, or they've been kind of telling you what you should be doing, like, no, this reads like that, or no, you're wrong, this is the way to do this, or you're wrong because this means this, then just take a breath and think to yourself, do I really want that person who I don't know to teach me something in that kind of way, in a way that's not flowing with my vibe? So you can rather just come out of the group or just ignore that person, you know, kind of say, I'm not even going to take any notice of them. And that's what I would suggest, not to take notice of those ones that try and, you know, they kind of play on their ego, don't they? You know, I'm the great tarot reader, you should read it like this. So just kind of ignore those kind of people and focus on the ones that really genuinely do want to share, and they want you to learn, and they want you to know your own way. And also realise that some tarot readers will give their opinion as if it is the only opinion, but I don't think they actually mean it that way. It's just the communication way. Don't forget, the communication with social media can be quite hard for a lot of people, the way they get their message across. So anyway, just take a little break and then get back into the essence of why you're learning the cards, what was the reason behind learning the cards, and then go through each card and look at the card and say, this means, the basic meaning according to this book is this, but I've read somewhere this, and I saw on a website that, and you'll find that there's kind of like this wave with the basic meaning, and then you can go a bit more into it and say, well, I see an angel here. What does that angel mean? You know, what does her wristband mean? What would it mean to me? What does it mean to me? What do I feel? What's my intuition saying? And above all, practice, practice, practice. In the case of tarot, practice makes perfect really is the way to go. Practice. More than study all the deep stuff, practice will be more helpful for you. Enjoy. That's the one thing I see most tarot readers not doing at the beginning, is enjoying. They start off really excited. They start off enjoying it. They start off going, oh my God, I pulled this card and I said this, and then the next day it happened. It's amazing. The cards are brilliant. They're amazing. And then the more they kind of get into it, the more stressful it becomes, and the more they kind of take on these rules of what they should be saying, what they shouldn't be saying, what the card really means, or what blah, 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 and they get so deep into it, they forget to have fun then, and they forget to let it flow, and they forget to just kick the shoes off and say, hey, these are the cards on the table, this is what they mean to me. So just remember not to get in that mindset and have some fun with your tarot. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you do, please hit like, subscribe, share me around on your social media, and let me know what kind of videos you want me to do in the future in the comments below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.